reminds you that you might need IRB clearance, animal use clearance, DNA, all of that. When you send it to ORS, what they need is the PAF, a draft of your abstract, any forms that are required by the sponsor, the budget narrative with the budget, any documents that need official signature. So this is like the old world of paper applications. These days, most applications are online. So what you would send ORS is an actual electronic copy of your grant. Yes?
I just want to mention for people that are in CUPPA, you will work with your unit's business manager and they will complete this information based on a conversation with you. And I know you're going to talk about the timelines.
Yeah, very nice.
And so you're not on your own.
Great.
But there is a significant lead time which needs to be figured into your proposal development.
So as I mentioned, in a lot of applications, ORS is the actual office that will push the submit button. Like you can't, even if you try. Grants.gov and NSF Fastlane are two examples. There are other applications online where the submit button is live and you actually can go and click it and the application will go to the foundation. But again, remember, you have to have authorization from ORS. And as I said, working with another office means that you need to add extra time when you're preparing. And so for Grants.gov application, they want your finished proposal 7 days in advance, 7 business days. It's 10 whole calendar days. So usually if I am looking at something that says May 1st deadline, I just scratch out that thing and I write April 15th. So then it's clear, like I don't have until May 1, because May 1 is the deadline when ORS will have to submit it.
I have a question. We're working on a proposal, the budget's done. Can we submit to ORS, which is in the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, can we submit the PAF with the budget and a draft proposal because we need extra time?
Is it a grants.gov?
Grants.gov, yes.
Okay, so my suggestion is no, but if you are really desperate, yes. Like you can still change the narrative while they are reviewing your budget, but what happens in grants.gov is in order for them to start reviewing it, you need to send them the PDF with all the attachments in it. And so they are reviewing it, you are now working on another PDF with all the attachments in it. Then you'll be sending them, what you're creating is multiple copies of that grants.gov application, and my fear is they will submit the wrong one.
Does what I described happen a lot where you're not ready with the narrative, but everything else is ready?
Well, the truth is, I don't know. Like, when I work with faculty, I just tell them, like, this is our deadline, our internal deadline. We don't go past it. Only a few times I've been in the situation where I've had to send multiple copies, and they've been good. They submitted the correct one, but it always gives me, like heart troubles. So there might be people out there who say, this 7 days business is crazy. Like, I don't care for it. I'm gonna send it to them the last, day. And I think ORS will try to work with you and scramble. But just already the thought of them scrambling, I don't want it to, because, God knows what they're going to submit. So, yeah. But in general, especially if it's not a grants.gov application, if it's Fastlane, if it's a paper application, yes, you can send them the budget. Because really, the only thing they want to review is just your budget to make sure that you're asking for all the money that you can. And if you're changing the narrative and the abstract in the meantime, they don't care. I mean, they're not going to read your application, I can tell you that. Yeah, it's 11:05, so that's it. This is my last slide. Submit it. Now what? Let it rest. Think about if you can revise it for another foundation. I'm a big fan of recycling applications. Apply for more grants. What I love to do with faculty, the ideal world, you always have 3 applications pending, so that the first one that you submitted gets rejected, well, you know, I still have 2 hanging, and then you submit another one, so that any rejection doesn't feel like it's the end of the world because you're still working on other ones. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Do not apply for one and then wait to hear back, because that's going to be a year from now, and then they're going to say no. What I like to say is the first time you apply for feedback, the second and third time you apply for funding. So very few people get funded on the first try. The first time you apply for feedback. And if you do get funded, congratulations. Start working on all of your other documentations, IRB, and just-in-time process, the JIT, and start hiring and spending. Yes.
What's the answer to your question on the second bullet? What happens if you do get funded?
I put it there because I get that question all the time.
I mean, it's maybe not likely, but it could happen.
It's not likely, and I love it because people get so hopeful by taking a grant workshop that they think like, oh, if I apply for 3 and I get 3. So what happens is this, most times when you apply for a grant, you have to tell them if you submitted this proposal to other foundations. So when they make the decision, they might like it very much and still want to fund it. They will call you and say, we see that you've submitted this, you know, have you been funded? And you tell them yes or no. And if it's yes, foundations will work with you. You can say, look, I can, you know, I've gotten funding for this part, but I need funding for the year after. And so you can delay one by a year. You can submit a modified budget and say, look, they funded me, but they only funded my salary. They didn't fund my RA. And then maybe the second foundation wants to pick up the slack from the first one. There's a lot of negotiation that goes on. Once they like it, they won't necessarily let it go. There are places, but that happens usually with fellowships, where you can't have the same year off from 2 different places. But again, you might work with them and say, can I come next year? Okay, this is where it is. The first time you apply for feedback. Don't get discouraged. A lot of people get discouraged and then they get one rejection and they never want to apply again. Don't do that. That's the biggest mistake. That's the reason why people don't get funded, is that they stop the first time. It's really normal to have to apply second or third time for the same project. So keep at it. I remember I worked with a postdoc on her, she's now a faculty member at Loyola. Her postdoc, she was a postdoc here and applied for NSF. And she was so hurt when they rejected it. And I read the reviews, and the reviews were great. They said, you need to add a third control group or whatever. And they didn't like the fact that she used the word cohorts because it symbolized something else. So we changed it. We changed that, and we added a third, and then she got funded, 6 months later. So I know that it's hard to read rejections, but have somebody else read it to you and gently tell you what it is. Okay, don't forget internal funding. This is easy. All right. So thank you, everybody. Do you have any questions? That I don't have to rush out. So if you have any questions, but also feel free to leave if you need to. No? All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Francesca.
Thank you.